mystical experiences, but one of the ones that kind of dovetails into that was about a 6 or 7 year period when I had no connection to anything creative, and I just drove out to the beach at a dark night and brought my dog and wandered down the beach. There was nobody there, and I sat down on a log. It was the only log there, and as I got back up again, I realized that a dog or some creature had, gone to the bathroom there. And it was such a juxtaposition and so shocking that it brought me back into the moment, and I looked up at the stars, and the voice said, "It doesn't matter when you wake up as long as you wake up." And, none of those years were wasted. Every step was necessary to get you to this moment.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
And that's actually what a lot of people feel on the Labyrinth, is that they're exactly where they should be in their lives. A lot of us pound ourselves that we're not doing it, it's not coming together, and it's not happening, and we're not putting our creativity in the world, or we're not walking our soul path.
Right.
But many people come into the Labyrinth, and it's just a wonderful self-acceptance, a wonderful experience of awakening, because we're doing exactly what we need to do, and if not, you also get direction and guidance to keep moving, take the next step.
And to trust that inner voice, which in the past has been ridiculed as possible demons on your shoulder.
That's right. That's right.
And we've been trained to not trust ourselves, and it seems like everything that you wrote about lends to the idea that it's really important to develop self-love, to forgive others, and to remain out of judgment of anything.
That's
those
right.
Are all, those are all aspects of ourselves, lower aspects, which keep our spiritual feet nailed to the floor.
Right. Right. And we can't, there's a good psychological principle that's very important, is you have to befriend every part of yourself. You can't get rid of it. You can't throw it out. You can't kill it off. You need to incorporate it and be gentle with it and be conscious of it. That's, again, that awakening feeling. And many people find that in the Labyrinth, because the path is very gracious. It's very flowing. It's actually very beautiful. Often I have the privilege of doing Labyrinth walks in Grace Cathedral, of course, and in Chartres Cathedral. We do a program over there every May and every September. And so we have the whole cathedral to ourselves. It's beautiful, really, wow. I mean, I can't describe that building, except it is indeed one of the active sites on the planet as a holy place, and as a place in the name of the Sacred Feminine. And we candlelight the Labyrinth and have live music, and it brings healing to the imagination. It allows us to see a new vision of what it's like that we're all walking the path together. And that sense of receptivity and seeing that vision somehow not only deeply inspires people, but people find their soul assignments. People get guidance. People come into the present moment, and that's where there's no stress, and that's also where there's guidance.
Yes, well, it does seem that the guidance that comes to us intuitively is in the present, and it's not necessarily part of the past or the future. It's information that's direct.
That's right.
And I think that's part of what I feel is missing in so many different teachings, is that direct contact to source.
Yes. And
that is the conscious connection or reconnection to that which is higher, or as above, so below.
That's right. That's right. That's so true, and that is what the Labyrinth does. I mean, that's and my job in the world is just simply to introduce people to it, and then I do workshops around it, because sometimes people don't know what to do. For instance, a dream can come up in the Labyrinth. Many people have dreams either from the night before, or some people actually remember a reoccurring dream they might have had during childhood. And then you walk the Labyrinth working with that dream. And that may seem odd to people until they're in that. When you're in the Labyrinth, you're in liminal space. You're in between the worlds.
Well, right. That's kind of a shamanic journey, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Walking between worlds.
That's right.
Interesting.
And it's initiatory in that way.
Wow. Do you ever have people who have some kind of flashback to a past life? For instance, we were saying that there were so many people that were burned at the stake. Have you ever had anybody say, "Oh my God, I was a witch in the medieval ages and I was burned at the stake"?
Well, that's a really big phenomenon, Lance, in our world. I think it's amazing. I work with a lot of women. I have a small spiritual mentoring practice that I do. And
good.
That is a huge issue with many women who are afraid of their power. It's also, I'm sorry?
I just said yes.
It's also one of the reasons many people come to our programs in Chartres. It's a subtext. It's not the conscious reason often, or it's not necessarily shared out loud in the beginning. But so many women are afraid of their power, and there seems that there are cellular memories around that. You might use the word past life, but that there's cellular memories that some part of us remembers that, boy, to step out into the world and truly be ourselves, we're going to get it, or we're going to get burned, so to speak. And that's a very important dynamic. That is unfortunately alive and well in the world, and many of us may have some of those cellular memories from Europe and in the past, but there's actually a great deal of that actively happening in other parts of the world now, where women are not allowed to step out, they're not allowed to unveil themselves, all of that, that we're struggling with on this planet.
And I know that homosexuality in other countries is sometimes punishable by death, by hanging, and I think there were some Christians who were trying to get one of the South African countries to implement that in their country.
Uganda. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Uganda. Yeah.
And it's just horrifying that the church today could say that homosexuality is something that is a sin and needs to be stomped out. But,
really?
Where's the love and the acceptance of the human soul in that one?
Right. See, and that's why it's so important that everyone on the planet needs to wake up, no matter what religious tradition is. And often a religious tradition can block people from waking up rather than help them wake up. But to become conscious that we're sharing the planet, we're sharing resources, we have to walk with respect and honor of other people, even though they may seem different than us. It's a huge lesson. And, it's illustrated. I mean, you're doing it when you're walking a labyrinth in a group.
And it seems that would be a transformational experience that you could not forget.
Yeah, that's right, because it is embodied. There's a wonderful quote from Paul Ricoeur, a theologian, who says, "Human behavior is not changed through moral imperative, but through a transformed imagination." And I think that's so true. And when you're in candlelight and you have live music and you're in Grace Cathedral, we do this every second Friday of the month. When you're in Grace Cathedral walking with other people, you don't maybe know them. Most of the time you don't know them. You might be there with friends. But you get literally your imagination transformed of what it would be like for us all to be acknowledging that we're all walking the path together.
And that's really what's happening. We're just mired in illusion, and we're heavily veiled in consciousness. So we have to do the work of removing some of our illusions and reconnecting in spirit with one another. That's right.
And that creates a great deal of upheaval for the person to realize, that they're condemning or they're judging or they're in contempt of people who are different than them. I mean, that's huge. I love Tom Weston's quote. It's a wonderful quote that I use in my lectures sometimes. You're creating God in your own image if the God you believe in hates the same people you do.
That's terrific. I love that.
That's a pretty heavy
I have to remember that one.
But it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And part of that waking up is, to come come into realizing that we're all in the human form. We all have the same concerns, for the safety, our safety and our family's safety, and that we, have food to eat and shelter over our heads and friends and community. I mean, it's all we all want the same thing.
Absolutely, and it does seem to kind of, if I had to boil it down to one thing, I'd say it all boils down to love.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty overused word nowadays, but that's true.
Well, yes,
it's
like
true.
God, and, these words, we have to reinvent these somehow, and maybe that will be part of the process of the old paradigms breaking down and new ones being discovered.
That's right. And that is what's happening, for sure. I mean, we are changing paradigms. We're moving out of the patriarchal, and we're moving out of the enlightenment and the grip of empirical science into a deeper understanding of the universe and who we are. And it's pretty amazing to me that the labyrinth, certainly the one I'm using, and all archetypal labyrinths, predate this, terrible and necessary evolutionary step that we took in the Enlightenment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. How many labyrinths have you been able to pepper across the globe so far that you're aware of?
Yeah, that peppering the planet image came one morning when I was eating scrambled eggs, and I put pepper on them, and there was pepper all over my eggs, and I started thinking, that's what we need to do with labyrinths. Well, we're on our website, Lance. There's a labyrinth locator, and there's about 3,500 labyrinths on that locator. So
wonderful.
You can, pardon?
I said that's wonderful.
Well, you can go in there and, type in your location, your city or zip code or whatever state, and then find a list of labyrinths wherever you are. And I'm pretty safe to say that, there's labyrinths near you, whether you know it or not. And, I remember
I'm about an hour and a half away from yours at Grace Cathedral, and I'm kind of a recluse, so I don't get out out of the city too much. But if I do go down in that direction to visit, the labyrinth at Grace will definitely be on my list of things to do.
Well, just go on the labyrinth locator. I'm sure there's one near you. You're in Placerville, right?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
There might be one up here.
Yeah. No, they're everywhere.
Oh, good. I'll do that.
I say that with great confidence, but it's true. And out of now, since the labyrinth movement has started, and really, I guess